You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Thank you so much for joining me here today on the Cabral Concept. We are back today with our house calls. And these house calls are where we are able to answer our community's questions each and every weekend on all things wellness, weight loss, and anti-aging. Really excited to be able to get to these questions and as many of these questions as I can on a weekly basis. We've been doing these now for almost 4 years. And we have now, again, I don't have the exact number for you, but we're getting close to, if not surpassing, 5,000 of our community's questions answered just in the podcast alone. And that, to me, gets me super excited because, again, I only answer 5 or 10 questions per day. But it's one more example of what we can do in life when we simply stick with something. You know, I never feel like I'm answering that many questions on any particular show. I always feel like I'm not doing enough for people. Like I should be answering all the questions, you know, so that there's no 5 or 6 week delay. But I look back and I say, it's not a race. You can't burn yourself out because if you burn yourself out, you stop, right? And that's why I want everybody, whatever journey they're on right now, to continue to push forward because it's not what you do in any one day. That does matter, but it's what you do every day over the course of a year, 2 years, 3 years that makes the biggest difference. And I'm telling you right now, if you haven't achieved your wellness goals, your weight loss goals, your anti-aging goals, all you need to do is continue to learn. You need to course calibrate, which means change things, tweak things as more information to you becomes available, and continue every single day to do just a little bit more work. That's it. Just a little bit more. Move forward in just one more step, 2 more steps. No big deal. Like that's why, okay, yeah, no huge change this week. No huge change next week. All of a sudden we get little changes, and they start to add up. 3 years later, you look back and say, I can't believe I was ever in that state. I can't believe I ever was in that body. And I can't believe I looked like that, right? Because now my skin's rejuvenated, the hair, the nails, the glow, the vitality, right? You want that. You want to move towards that. And it doesn't happen overnight. Your body regenerates every 3 to 4 months or so. And with that regeneration, really does come renewed life. Just stick with it. That's what we want. All right. So let's dive into the questions today. I want to make sure that I get to as many as possible. And if you want to follow along with the questions, head on over to stephencabral.com/1374 for all of today's questions. Okay, the first question is from Carolyn. And Carolyn says, I have 2 questions. First, what test do you suggest to evaluate cell function at the cellular level? And secondly, what protocol do you suggest for an otherwise healthy 23-year-old male bitten by the Lone Star tick and now allergic to all hooved animal products due to alpha galactose reaction? Thank you very much for your dedication to everyone's wellness. We listeners are all grateful. Thank you, Carolyn. I appreciate you writing in, and I appreciate you saying that. I'm grateful for you, and I'm grateful for all of our listeners because there wouldn't be a show without you, and that is the truth. Okay. Couple different suggestions. Cellular level function. I look at a complete blood count. I want to look at your CBC, it's called. Now, luckily, this is pretty much taken care of on an annual basis from your PCP. You ask for, your metabolic panel, your lipid panel, your complete blood count. You can ask for the 25-hydroxy vitamin D. You can ask for homocysteine. You can ask for CRP, and you can ask for LDH, lactase dehydrogenase. And that's a great overall panel to run. So that's what I do. That's just baseline. And then I want to run the Big 5 labs. The Big 5 labs are what I run myself every year, sometimes twice a year. And that's what we run in our private practice. That's what we recommend for most people. But not everybody runs the Big 5, of course, because there's a financial investment to that. But it tells you what's going on at a deep level, because cellular level matters, right? But what about detoxification? What about all these different things? So that's what I would do. And, looking at your hematocrit and MCHC and your red blood cells and RDW, that's going to let you know iron, B vitamins, vitamin C, copper, magnesium, and that will let you know where you're at. So hopefully that's helpful. And then definitely for males as well, I would run a TIBC, total iron binding capacity, and I would also run a ferrin lab as well for iron. Okay. Oh, in terms of reaction, here's what we need to do. Bit by a tick might take a bit, okay, might take a bit to rebalance the body, but you will work on calming that immune system to that particular reaction. That will come in time. Continue to rebalance the body, detoxification, your overnight fasting, and allow the body to return back to homeostasis. It may or may not, but always shoot for the positive, and it very well may. Okay, you would not be the first. All right, Gabe's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. For the past couple of weeks, I've been having major midday stomach cramping. Ran a hair tissue test and found out I'm deficient in pepsin and Enterokinase. I was wondering if you think that could be the cause of my discomfort, and if you had any suggestions to balance that issue. Okay, really great question. I do not know how, and again, I love functional medicine. I love the hair tissue mineral analysis, the minerals and metals test. I don't know how, from a hair test, someone could tell you you're deficient in pepsin and Enterokinase. You could tell from a hair tissue mineral analysis that your digestion has become weaker and your protein digestion may even become weaker, but it'd be hard to single out pepsin and Enterokinase. It doesn't test specifically for that, so that would be challenging. But again, you can say, okay, poor protein digestion. Here's the thing. I always ask, the past couple weeks, this is my practice in a nutshell. I am an interrogator, right? That's what I do, but I do it in a nice way. But you meet with myself or you meet with my team, and they ask you a series of questions. Okay, so you say to me, the past couple weeks I've been having major midday stomach cramping. I say, okay. All of a sudden, did you lose your pepsin activity or your Enterokinase? Maybe, maybe not, right? Maybe, maybe not. More than likely, there was a change in diet, or you started eating leftovers for lunch, or you changed your meal timing, or you had a new vitamin at lunch. There is most likely a change, right? Could be bowel movement change, could be anything. My job is to figure out the variable that created this new stomach cramping. And again, you wrote in October 7th, 10/7. So this is only, I'm getting to you about 5 weeks later, okay? But not too long ago. You should be able to remember, what did you change? It's always why I ask people over and over and over and over, only change one thing at a time in your life, like if you can with your diet. Because if you change multiple things and things start to go downhill, or they start to move in the other direction positively, you want to know what were the things that had the positive effect or what were the things that had the negative effect, right? So that's a recommendation. It could be anything. I can't give you that reason. I wish I could. But I'm willing to bet it's a digestive-based issue. I'm willing to bet a new supplement at lunch, a new food, something was introduced that may be causing this. But again, I don't have enough information. But certainly, I would interrogate you like a detective until we figured it out. All right, Jennifer's up next. Hi, eating disorder for 15 years, bulimia specifically, working on recovery last couple of years. Question is regarding GERD. Because of the stomach acid from throwing up, I have to take medicine every day to control it. I'm concerned about it messing up my ability to absorb vitamins and minerals. I've not taken it for a couple of days and it's too painful. Thoughts? Yeah, absolutely, Jennifer, and totally understand where you're coming from. We work with a lot of women and some men as well with eating-based disorders or disordered eating. And bulimia is something we've talked about on the podcast before. Your question specifically, actually yesterday we talked about an eating disorder too. So GERD, okay, so let's talk about GERD. Let's talk about acid reflux. A lot of times from repeated throwing up, there is damage to the lower esophageal sphincter, that LES. What we want to do is actually see if there's a hiatal hernia. And if there's a hiatal hernia, I want you to look up on the good old internet exercises to repair hiatal hernia. You'll learn certain massaging techniques. You'll learn relaxation techniques. We use things as well. We use something like Healthy Belly, which is a nutritional supplement that helps with the stomach mucosa. We also use the same massage-based techniques. We use Adrenal Soothe, typically 1 at lunch and 2 at dinner, sometimes 1 at breakfast if we need to relax the stress and anxiety that a lot of people have as well. We'll use magnesium if needed. So what we do is we rebalance the body, rebalance the digestive system, and also make sure that we find out what your trigger foods are that are causing more of the acid reflux. Because trust me, there are definitely foods that you're going to react to more than others. And for right now, not forever, but for right now, for the next 12 to 16 weeks or so, we're going to limit the reactive foods. Maybe they're high histamine foods. Maybe they're certain types of herbs. I don't know what it is, right? But we would look at that list, and every time it caused you acid reflux, we would actually limit that. Now, we would not say stop your medication. You're going to take your medication for as long as you need it. But then, as you're healing, you'll work with your doctor or yourself, and you begin to taper slowly. And you'll find the right method for you so that you don't need as much. Because yes, when you take acid blockers, what happens is you don't absorb as much calcium. You don't absorb as much zinc. You don't break down your protein as well. You don't get your vitamin B12. So these things are all super important. Make sure right now you're at least getting your daily foundational protocol, I would say level 3 for you, which with the digestive enzymes, so that you're absorbing more of your nutrients and you're also getting them in a pre-digested format in the daily fruit and vegetable blend, as well as the daily nutritional support. Jennifer, thank you for writing in. Tim's up next. How long do digestive enzymes last? The bottle says keep them or take them 15 minutes before, but what if the meal lasts longer than the duration of its effects in the stomach? Should I take them one mid-meal as well? Great question. So yeah, you take typically digestive enzymes 10 minutes or so before a meal. I never remember to take my digestive enzymes before a meal, but I also keep my life super simple. So I pretty much take all of my vitamins mid-meal. That's it. Now, there are some upon waking that I take, and there are some vitamins that I take before bed, right? But I don't want to add one more into the mix. Your digestive enzymes work just fine mid-meal. Now, do they work a little bit more effectively before the meal? Yes, because they get into the stomach, they open up the little capsules, they're plant-based cellulose capsules, and they dissolve, and the enzymes are there ready to work on the food. But remember, Tim, and I know that you know this, because I can see how you're asking the question, your meal, if there's a protein, if there's carbs and there's fat at the same meal, not just carbs, it's going to stay in your stomach for longer than an hour, right? Anytime you add protein to the meal, unless it's a protein shake, it's going to be in your stomach for longer. So don't feel like the enzymes aren't going to work. Now, if you're someone that's dealing with bloating, definitely take your enzymes before the meal, right? It could even be with your first bite. That's okay. 1 or 2 enzymes. We have the daily enzyme support. They're absolutely fantastic. They have all the specific enzymes, and then we add papain and we add bromelain, 2 nice herbal-based digestive bitters as well. So, okay, now I will, if I feel exceptionally full after a meal, which I try not to do, hopefully you tuned into my previous show of Hara Hachibu, that was on episode 1370, that won't happen as much. But I take additional enzymes if I'm still feeling a little full, like bloated, after the meal. I'll take another 1 or 2. So, Tim, you can take as many enzymes as you would like, honestly. The side effect if you ever took too many enzymes would be looser stool. And it wouldn't be ongoing. It would be just from taking the enzymes because it moved through your digestive system too quickly. So, Tim, hopefully that answers your question. And again, Tim, they don't wash away through your stomach because they're mixing with food. So if you take them by themselves, they certainly do. And that's why we use something like Florafilm or one of our other biofilm products upon waking and before bed, because it's actually meant to go through your stomach without food and digest and work on the biofilms in your intestines. But that's another day's show. All right, Kim's up next. I started following Dr. Cabral's protocol in the late summer. I'm not one to mind a fruit smoothie for breakfast or frozen fruits and veggies. However, with now the change of season, my body does not want the cold smoothie for breakfast. It craves hot things like oatmeal and rice porridge and squashes and potatoes. Do you have any options for breakfast or how to make the DNS into something more geared towards the changing seasons? Right now, I'm having to just mix mine in a shaker bottle and sip it throughout the day or down it as a mid-afternoon snack. Sure, Kim, no problem at all. During the winter time, that's when I actually add in a warm bowl of oatmeal myself. So what I do is I just make my smoothie and I let it sit out for 20 minutes while I eat my oatmeal. And then after that, I drink my smoothie or I drink it when I get to work. By then, it's already warmed up a little bit. So it's not like it's hot, but it's not quite cold. The other thing that I do in the winter is I take my Purple Crush smoothie and I simply add about a thumb or a half a thumb's worth of ginger. And the ginger adds heat, and it's a really nice digestive aid. So many people in our community do that. So you're welcome to do that. But other people, they just take their vanilla or chocolate DNS and they mix it in with their oatmeal or their rice porridge or their squash, whatever you want to do. So a lot of people love mixing the chocolate daily nutritional support with their oatmeal, and they just make that into kind of like their morning porridge and breakfast. I'd still say add some fresh blueberries if you want on top of that oatmeal so that you get some of those antioxidants in there too. You can add a little cinnamon as long as there's no histamine issues, and you get some nice antioxidants and blood sugar balancing effects from the cinnamon as well. So Kim, hopefully that was helpful. Melissa's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I'm about to start your CBO protocol to work on my SIBO. My specialist has tested me on the cause of my SIBO, and the results I've discovered is gastroparesis and low gastrin levels. Okay. My concern is after I complete the protocol, my SIBO could come back. And I was unable to get any support from the specialist about what to do for remaining SIBO. The only suggestion I've taken is to take a drug for life to pump my stomach faster. I've discovered your treatments and advice, and I'm hopeful you would have some natural advice to help stay SIBO free. Thank you in advance for any assistance you give, Melissa. Melissa, I'm happy to answer this question. Remember, I can't treat, diagnose, or cure disease. That's not within the scope of practice that I live by, right? That's for licensed medical doctors only. What we do is we rebalance the body so that dis-ease, being overweight, all of these things can't be present, right? So here's what we do. Gastroparesis, exactly. So it's one of the only reasons why people still continue to have bloating or other issues after going through the CBO protocol, because there could be regrowth if there's slow peristaltic movement. And for everyone who doesn't know what that means, is what happens is the food and even bacteria just stays too long in the intestines. It doesn't move fast enough along that 28 feet. So here's what we do. We use digestive enzymes ongoing with each meal. We also work on what's called the autonomic nervous system. So the way that you speed up gastroparesis, or that you speed up peristaltic movement in the intestines, is that you calm and relax the sympathetic nervous system so that your body naturally moves to the parasympathetic nervous system. Because in the parasympathetic nervous system, this happens naturally. You don't have to force it to happen. You don't have to take drugs. You don't have to take all sorts of different things. So here's what we do. We use magnesium. We can use alkalizing vitamin C in the morning. We can use Adrenal Soothe at lunch and at dinner. We can do things to calm that fight or flight based response. And when we do that, then we allow people to wipe out the excess bacteria, wipe out the excess candida, and enable them to have a normal 1 or 2 bowel movements or so per day, and not deal with any of that regrowth. So Melissa, hopefully that was helpful as well. All right. Let's get in one more question today. This is from Marie. Hi, Doc. I have some specific questions regarding fasted weight training. On weekends, I've gotten into the habit of training in the morning, and I'm quite enjoying fasted workouts. My goals are fat loss, especially around the midsection. My fasted weekend training consists of weightlifting for the lower body, followed by 20 minutes of light cardio. I'm not hungry during these workouts, but would like your feedback on whether I'm sabotaging my results this way. Should I eat before training? Should I have a quick snack before cardio? Or not do the cardio at all that day? Or is it fine to just eat after? Advice very much appreciated, as always, Marie. Marie, thank you so much for writing in, and I think you're going to like this answer. I did a full show on this. So I know that you wrote in on October 12th, but I did a show on this called The Big Fat Burning Benefits of AM versus PM Exercise. And it should say really the big fat burning benefits of fasted AM versus PM exercise. Check out that show. I want you to listen to the whole show. But the truth is this, that if you're looking to lose weight and you're not the anxious, overwhelmed, burnt out, hypoglycemic, Vata-based body type, if you're more of the Kapha-based body type, if you gain weight more easily, if you trend more towards higher blood sugar, especially fasted, that AM cardio has huge benefits, absolutely enormous benefits. And so that's why, remember, although sometimes I shy away from that for everybody, there are big benefits, and I stay unbiased. I want to make sure that people are getting all the benefits of more of a customized based protocol for them. So if you're feeling good, your body's responding, then it might work perfectly for you. But again, check out episode 1371. 1371, just this past Thursday for the full show. And you may have already been listening to it if you're a daily listener. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning into today's show. As always, I appreciate you. I thank you. I'm grateful for your listens. I'm grateful for your shares. I'm grateful for your reviews on iTunes and all the other media-based players. I hope you have had a great weekend, and stay tuned. We've got a big Motivation and Mindset Monday coming for you tomorrow. Take care. I want to sincerely thank you for your support of this podcast. I couldn't do it without you, and I mean that. I truly do. I also want to make sure you knew that we now have multiple ways for you to find your answers to the most difficult health, wellness, weight loss, and anti-aging questions. You can find podcast-specific topics like thyroid, adrenal, hormones, sleep, digestion, Ayurveda, and many more at stevencabral.com/podcasts that will then link you to your favorite Apple, Spotify, and other podcast players. Plus, all new podcasts and weekly exclusive video content is being added to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Stephen Cabral. And that's Stephen with a PH. Head on over and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the exclusive content. Lastly, if you've ever found any of my podcasts or books to be helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a review on iTunes or your favorite media player for the podcast. Rating and subscribing to the YouTube and podcast allow me to reach more and more people and help spread my mission of healing throughout the world. Thank you again for being a part of this movement.